Hey, how's it going? On this episode, we're going to talk about chopping up all that video content that you've been recording over the last few weeks and turning it into a hot YouTube video. Let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to get right into it. So all that content that you have, let's see if we can't turn it into an actual video that people are going to watch. So you're going to need an intro. Okay, then you're going to need the meat and potatoes. This is the actual part of your video, the reason why your video. Okay, and then you're going to need an outro. So that's where you actually say your goodbyes and thank you for their watching, for their time, and ask for subscribe. Okay, the three pieces. All right, so the first piece of your video is going to be your intro. All right, this is what viewers are going to see the first few bits of your video. Now, a couple things to keep in mind here is you want to keep it simple, keep it sweet. Okay, very, very kiss, because if you start getting into a very long intro, you're going to lose your viewer before you even start your video. So I'm going to show you exactly how much time you have to do your intro before you lose somebody. Okay, hold on a second. Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. That's it. That's all you get. 2.5 seconds to grab somebody's attention. All right, so the first few seconds, you want to do what they call set the hook. Just like in fishing, people clicking on your video is the nibble. And then what you got to do in those first few seconds of your intro is you got to actually get them to set the hook and get interested in what you're watching. And the only way to do that is to open with an intriguing question or make a statement that makes the viewer want to watch more of your video. Like start with something surprising or an unusual fact or maybe a statistic or something that's going to create interest, and then jump right into that. Don't wait and do an introduction. Hi, my name is, welcome to the channel, welcome back, blah blah blah. You gotta set that hook first, then drag them in, and then once you've gotten past the intro stage and you're into the meat and potatoes of your video, then you can do the hey, my name's so and so, or welcome back to the channel, or whatever your initial greeting is. But it's your first few seconds is vital. If you've got a long intro that's longer than 10-15 seconds, people are going to click off. And if you don't have a hook within the first 2-3 seconds, people are going to click off. That's where a lot of us new YouTube are losing. We lose a lot of people because we don't know this knowledge up front. We're told to create videos and post videos, and that's what we do. We create videos and we post videos. So I'm trying to do a training that's a little bit more, give you the all the peanuts in the peanut butter up front. So when you're putting your video together, set your hook. First 5 seconds, try to set that hook in your video. Okay, so take what you have for your intro, and we're going to put it into your video editing program, and you want to dwindle down your ums and your buts and your spaces and the causes and whatever you got. Dwindle that down first, and then once you have that dwindled down, then you're going to want to try to get the clips that are a intriguing question or statement or a comment or something to grab somebody's attention. Okay, now once you've set the hook, you want to go directly into the meat and potatoes of your story. And depending upon the type of stories that you're going to tell, I recommend keeping your meat and potatoes section to anywhere from 7 to 14 minutes. This is a good span of time where you're not going to lose a lot of interest depending upon what subject you're talking about and how you're displaying and presenting the information. As long as it's compelling, they'll stay to the end. And that's kind of what you want. You want somebody to watch your video from beginning to end. Okay. If you have a 25-minute video and they're only watching the first 6 minutes of it, you want to go back and find out why they're only watching the first 6 minutes. Is it because you've already answered the question and the rest of it is kind of a pointless video, or you didn't answer the question or comment or statement that you stated up front and they were like, well, I'm just going to move on because this is bullshit? That's what you have to make sure of when you're putting your video together, okay? Okay, so the next part we're going to talk about is your outro. This is your ending of the video. And what you want to do is use this time to recap your hook, okay? The question that you have grabbed people in to watch your video, this is where you want to recap in summary what your video explained. This is also going to be the time where you're going to ask your viewers for your like and your subscribe. You don't want to do it in the beginning. That usually turns everybody off. You want to do it towards the end because, one, if they're going to skip over your video, then it's no loss to you. They weren't going to subscribe anyways. But if they make it to the end of your video, they thought your information was compelling enough, then they generally will like and subscribe your content. So I always recommend do your recap, get that out of the way, and then do your ask for the subscriptions, ask for the likes, find them to hit the notification bell so that way they know every time you're posting. Okay. All right, so that's the basics of putting together a YouTube video. So you set the hook, you reel them in, you feed them a whole bunch of information that you want, you tell them a story, and then you release them back into the wild, thanking them for the time and effort that they put into it. Now comes all the other stuff that goes into editing a YouTube video to watch. This is going to include music. This is going to include your B-roll, your visual aids, or anything like that. This is where once you've whittled down your video, you have your concise time frame of what you want. Now is where you go back into that locked in and you start adding your music in certain key places, because music will help your video tell your story depending upon what kind of music you use. This is where you're going to insert your visual aids, because now you actually have key points, key talking points. You know exactly where your breaks are. You know exactly where you're breathing, where you're stopping, where you need to, like, hey, look at this, or, you know, you want your music to ramp up, or you need to transition from one slide to the next. You have those points. Now you go back and add in all the little flowery stuff to make it look pretty. All right, so if you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Put a lot of time and effort into this to try to help you guys get along and make some of the best YouTube content you can. Now, with that being said, I don't want you to forget a couple of things, because this is where you generally do. First thing I don't want you to forget is don't forget to do your thumbnail. Now is a good time to snag a piece, take a screenshot of a moment in your video that you think is going to grab your viewers' attention. Okay, it could be a simple scene, could be just a picture of you, and use a program like Canva or something like that. If it's just a picture of you, use a program like Canva to pull the background out and just put you there. Make it a simple thumbnail. If it's a scene in your video where you've already put some visual effects, some text, and you can screen grab that, do that. That's also a good option. Most importantly, one of the biggest things you want to remember about doing your thumbnail is the 3 C's. You want it to you want it to have good contrast, make it pop. Something, you know, balance lights and darks, colors and grayscale. If you're on the color side, try to use colors that are going to be complementary or opposite on the color wheel. You also want to have good composition. So try to grab a scene, or if you're in Canva, move things around so it is following the rule of thirds, you know. And if you're doing it that way, you also want to try to have some sort of like lines or arrows or big words that pop out. And then ultimately, you also want your thumbnail to have some sort of contents, like what is the video about? And the thumbnail is the only piece of information that people really get to see what your video is about. So you got to try to be concise and put it in this little picture. That's it. That's all you get. It has no noise. It doesn't have any animation. So you've got to make this thing pop. Okay. Second thing I don't want you guys to forget is keep your video engaging. Keep it fun. Remember, you're doing this for your enjoyment, so be a little happy about it, okay? And that's it, folks. That's all I got for you. So go ahead and celebrate creating your first YouTube video that you're gonna upload. Feel happy with it? All right. I'm gonna go ahead and knock it off here, and we'll catch you next time.